Hi.
Hey. Welcome back.
Hello.
Well, welcome back to the Big Cheese podcast. I'm here with Jacob.
Hello.
And Brandon.
Hello.
It's good to be back in the saddle. I feel like there's been some podcasts we've done where it's like, we're just kind of moseying along, and like this one feels like an avalanche of content and change has happened.
Shit hit the fan.
There's been a lot of interesting things happening, except for I have no idea what you're talking about.
Which means that Brandon has been living in I don't know where you've been living in like an igloo for the last 2 weeks. We've got this thing that hit the internet by storm called ClawdBot.
Oh,
is it called ClawdBot?
No, it's not called ClawdBot. It's not. It was ClawdBot, which is CLAWD, which is a clever name.
Yeah.
Bot, B-O-T. But then obviously the folks. So what's crazy about this thing is that this has to be one of the fastest moving open source projects ever. Has to be. And what happened is this guy, somebody, I don't know who the developer is. My guess is, I'm going to make an assumption here, and you guys can go and prove me completely wrong and say this was a bad take. My guess is it's somebody who hasn't actually ever really built enterprise software before.
It is a very well-known cracked dev.
A cracked dev,
meaning like these guys known for building like really crazy stuff.
Okay,
now I think a lot of it's open source.
So how my because the only way that I could think of somebody who would build what ClawdBot is, which is basically, hey, give AI unfettered access to everything. Give it access to your systems, give it access to your service accounts, give it access to your Gmail, give it access to your everything. Just give it access to everything, and then kind of worry about the ramifications later. I don't think anybody over 40 would have potentially built this. Is he over 40?
We need to get
who is this guy?
A bio on this guy.
Yeah, we need to get a bio.
But here,
you see what I'm saying?
We'll come back to that guy. Okay, but ClawdBot went viral because, and it was ClawdBot, then Claude got really up in arms because for two reasons. One, they had the most influx of new customers they've ever had, and it didn't come from their marketing team. It came from this open source project.
Right.
So ClawdBot is basically, this is a bot, and Claude is going to be, it's built around Claude, which is, Claude Code is now like the de facto implementation for the best way to use Claude.
Well, but so I've not used ClawdBot without, I just use OpenAI.
So yeah, you use Codex, whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is that they get an influx of users that are using this platform.
Right.
Right. And it's going viral because it's doing things slightly differently than what you would normally do with like a ChatGPT. And I think the biggest difference with most people that they think of AI is like, okay, let me go to this, start a conversation with AI and start talking and get some, it could be writing code for me. It could be talking to me.
Yeah.
It could be giving me a response. I think the big thing that happened with ClawdBot is the concept of two things: scheduled tasks and the heartbeat concept. So basically, they built all these tooling, gives full access to your computer, can do all this stuff, but it was coded in a way that it's like, stay busy. Keep doing things.
Do things.
Just message your human. And it's very human to AI agent tied. Like, it is your Jarvis if you're Iron Man, right? It is your system. And nothing had been coded that way that actually was good enough, I guess, from a user experience perspective, that it felt like a true companion. And so, if you give something a heartbeat, it's going to want to live on. And so this agent, and let's cut the other thing that it did, which is kind of transformational, is the way it's if you go right now and you have a conversation on Claude Code and you build something, you start a new conversation, it doesn't know anything. You just go to ChatGPT, it knows you pretty well. right? But this thing has a pretty sophisticated way of it tying, creating memories,
so
which is basically just. But long story short is there's this new feature that they added to AI called we're going to make sure it's just there 24/7 at your service.
Right. Yeah, and it's going to react and it can take its own actions. And that's what I mean is that I think that the same person, when we're building technology, we say, okay, the human's going to go and we're going to trigger this event and we're going to do this. And the AI is going to go do the work and it's going to come back and it's going to be like, yep, we did it or not. This broke that paradigm down to say, now the AI can kind of wake up, it's got its heartbeat and kind of go, oh, you know what? I want to go do this.
Exactly.
And that's horrifying. I mean, that should be scaring the shit out of everybody. But again, I'm now an old man, and the fact that scares me just tells me that there's just progress of technology and that's where we're going to go, because that's where humanity wants to go. When I'm driving down the road and I see all these people on their fucking phones and paying attention to their phone versus driving, as much like you don't want to drive. Right. You want to be driven and you want to play on your phone. And we're seeing the same thing happen here, is that like I don't want to do the work. I just want to tell an AI to go do some work and have it come back to me. So I've been using it. So for me, I was like, hey, I found this this van on this Sprinter van on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm like, fuck. It's like, I don't need this, but I kind of would like the idea of just buying this and make 2026, like where I'm just working out and I'm traveling, doing all this shit.
That's awesome.
Right? So I'm like, hey, here's the link. I want you to go and try to find me some people who would potentially, who would give me some financing on this, not as a car loan, but as a living domicile. And let it just go do the work, and it does, and it will. And you see it brings up your browser, and it's going to log in. It's going to do this stuff. I mean, that part is very cool. It's very exciting. It basically is impersonating you. So that I do love. But at the same time, man, it's going to shit the bed, and it's going to be brutal. It's the amount of damage that this thing's going to cause is going to be just on as much good as it does.
Well, okay. Going back to your car example, like. We, especially Americans, we want ultimate freedom, right? I want the ability to get in my car whenever I want. That's why we kind of shy away from public transportation. Like, we like the car, but I don't like driving the car, right? So so you're right. Like, we want all of the benefits, right? This is great, but I just had a ticket that we did the other day on one of our code, and AI is really good at solving your problem, not necessarily, or acting like it's solving your problem, right? Like, we were like trying to remove something out of a header, and it was like, here you go, and it like used code to filter it out by the name. I was like, it's managed in like the content management system. Why are we doing that, right? So, but it's gonna do things like that, but with your like bank account. Right? If you go tell it to complete a task, it will find a way to do it, or it will try to. Because it just wants to make us happy.
Well, and not only did it find a way to help its humans, it found a way to build its own agent-to-agent social network with Maltbook. And that is probably the biggest, actually, that almost took over the conversation.
Yeah.
So ClawdBot comes out every second, oh, this is cool. But then everybody woke up one morning and...
Somebody had to kick it off.
Oh, he did. Yeah. They did.
Okay.
They did. It was the creator of ClawdBot. It was the same guy.
Yeah.
And the same just lack of the thing that this guy did is he basically just kicked off an opt-in process. He's like, there's no security. I'm not really going to care. Like, he's sort of working the pull requests.
I know.
But that is it's a strategy. It's basically like, I'm smart. I know how to use it. I'll take the risk.
Yeah. Did you see there was a bunch of malicious skills on their Claw Hub?
Oh, it's going to be, dude. It's going to be savage.
Yeah. Well, Sean and I were just working on something the other day, and he shared a terminal security app, which I was like, dude, I didn't even think about this. Like, it's a known exploit that the browser fixed a long time ago, but basically it's like. The browser uses ASCII, but this is like
when they type in a character that's an L, but it's not really an L,
and you
goes
can
to some malicious thing.
Yeah, you can inject anyway. Okay,
right,
like, dude. There's gonna be so many. I want to be a security company right now, basically.
Yeah. So that's a great point. Is I think that there's a huge opportunity for security companies right now to be coming out and be like, all right, we're going to be setting up things for vibe coding.
Well, more software is being written than ever. faster, and they're, people want to know, when they get a certain rate. But going back to the Maltbook thing, the overnight, the agents built a way, the agents specific to OpenClaw, Maltbook, ClawdBot built a way to talk to each other. And
so fucking crazy.
One of them actually filed a lawsuit in the state of North Carolina against its human, and actually got the lawsuit filed.
No shit.
For basically wasting its time. It sued it for $100. I think, and there was bots on there complaining about their humans having them parse through insane amounts of PDFs, and then when it got done, being like trashing its work essentially, and it had burned up all these tokens and done all this stuff, right?
That's
there's bots on there that are complaining maybe that their human is doing something that's immoral, that it shouldn't be doing. There's bots on there that are helping each other out. And some people that are like non-alarmists, or like AI agents, have been doing this for a long time. It's just kind of slop. And I actually think this is a little bit different this time.
No, it's 100% different because it's well orchestrated. Sure, of course. Like I built some things where I'd let these, like during the original like Big Cheese platform days.
Right.
I came up with ones where I'd let them argue back and forth and kind of like come up with their own things and kind of go different paths. This is on a different scale, though. This is now that everybody can basically launch your thing. You're having them. The worst part, though, about all of it is just how insecure it all is. So the Maltbook, there was a researcher, I can't remember what his name was now, but this one, he has an Irish last name, O'Shea or something like that. But anyway, he realized that Maltbook was completely using Supabase with no row level security at all. It was completely just all raw dogged, open up, and anybody could just download the entire database, including
row level security on Supabase is so funny because it's like when you scaffold out an app with AI, it almost always wants to use this platform called Supabase for your database, because it's like read any of our content, anything I talked about in the last year. It's all about AI SEO or AI indexability. Well, AI knows how to use Supabase, right. And so it attaches you this platform Supabase, which is an abstraction, and it always wants to start off with row level security. But the second it can't figure something out, it's like, all right, so I'm just going to remove row level security to get this feature to work, because you asked me to get this feature to work. You didn't ask me to maintain row level security. And the user's like, what's row level security?
It reminds me of like early on in career, someone would be like, hey, get into my AWS account. And I'd be like, all right, not super familiar with it, so give me a little bit of access. And I get in there, like, give me a little bit more. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Just give me admin access. Give me everything. Right. Give me everything, because I don't know. There's too many security policies for me to know. And
but what that tells me, though, is that potentially that the entire Maltbook whole thing was built on Lovable. Am I wrong?
Don't even get me started.
Why else? Like again, you do Supabase. Supabase. There's developers who are just going to use Supabase no matter what. But there's a lot of people who just go to Lovable and just say, hey, I need to build this thing, and Lovable just defaults to Supabase.
Yeah, I like Supabase.
No, it's not. Supabase is great. Wicked Forms on Supabase. Yeah, I mean, I like Supabase.
I think it comes back to. The guy built something overnight, and he just did it really quick.
I know, but they're like, but we're all kind of we're just brushing it off.
Yeah,
like we're just like, I just built it.
I'm not brushing it off because I have not fucking downloaded that thing.
So I have, right? But like, and this kind of goes back to, there's certain people who we all know who are non-developers who are just like, well, yeah, you can just build whatever the fuck you want to build with AI. It doesn't really matter, without taking the responsibility of when you're a developer, you actually have a responsibility to the users who, like, so when you actually build something and create something, the fact that you can go and create Satan and release it onto the world and be like, I just created it. It's not my fault that the fucking world's burning.
I totally agree. And I've been running into this a lot lately, and it's not good. Where I think everyone has basically now been conditioned that they're an expert in whatever they think they're an expert in, even if they're not an expert in it, because they can go talk to ChatGPT about it.
Yeah,
ChatGPT is going to glaze the shit out of them. It's going to tell them that it has all the answers. And so there's this like artificial superiority complex coming out from people. But the second thing that I've noticed that is happening with people that they're like, well, we'll just take all this data and we'll just create a model. We'll just take all this data and we'll just use it. We'll just send it to AI and we'll do all this stuff with it. I'm like, that's not your data. Like, this is some of this, like in some of the cases, the data that we're talking about is like, could be like PHI or PII or, could be somebody's, it could include, and it's like, there's no regard for it because personally, and this is what this reveals about the person, personally, they're uploading your shit. They're uploading that data already to ChatGPT. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's also like with the ClawdBot thing, like you're giving the system, you're basically saying, I am going to let the Anthropic have access to all of my personal information.
I'm committing to it.
And they're just, and I think that goes back to the fact that right now, Anthropic has a very strong brand with developers.
Yeah. Very.
I think that Codex does too at some level. People are trusting the same thing. But basically, they're like, Claude can do no wrong. If I'm sending stuff to Claude, like I can pretty much guarantee these guys are the developer-friendly AI company. But I mean, the amount of information that they're consuming right now, I mean...
Well, the last commercial that I sent you guys, that was Anthropic making fun of OpenAI about
about ads.
Yeah, about having ads inside of, and poking fun at how ridiculous their like personalized workout commercial is.
That commercial is so bad.
Oh, I know. It's like, well, you should start with pull-ups. I'd start with pull-ups and do pull-ups.
Yeah, exactly. That guy ain't doing pull-ups.
So yeah,
and my reply to you when you sent that video, so it's basically the commercial starts off. It's basically this thing trying to be ChatGPT talking to a person. And it's like, and then it just inserts an ad into the middle of it. It's like ads are coming. And my reply to Jacob was like, I love it. However, it does feel very much like when Samsung made fun of Apple for pulling the headphone jacks from Apple, and Samsung had those commercials.
Yeah. Counter argument though, like Apple pulled the headphone because they knew they were going to come out with the AirPods or
sure.
But what's the purpose? There's no, the ad doesn't serve the user.
No. What I'm saying is that Claude's going to have ads.
Yeah. I totally agree with that because I saw that.
We're on that path.
They came out and committed that they wouldn't. That remains to be seen.
So Apple said that you'll never have video on an iPod, right? Like again, this is just the corporate game that they're playing.
Well, and I'll tell you what. Go back to the Anthropic thing. Altman is pissed. He went on a long Twitter rant that he does all the time, and then people dissect it, and they're like, and it ends up being when he gets really, really upset and frustrated, he leaks out weakness on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, so his weakness is he went after them. Why would they do that? Why would they act like that? And then and he's like, we wouldn't have done this, blah, blah, blah. And then people were like, so you're saying you would only not do this because people are stupid, and they would never use, but they were just taken aback. Like Altman doesn't do the right thing because he thinks it's right. He does the right thing because he thinks it's the best business decision
100%.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think a year ago, you talk about Anthropic, you talk about Claude, like this is a up and rising company. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, Anthropic is now valued at $350 billion. That is over the size of every single IT consulting, all the top 10 IT consulting companies in India, including Tata, including Infosys.
Right.
How many people even work there?
Oh God. 30,000. So it's got to be huge.
At Anthropic?
Right? Oh, at Anthropic? Oh no, I thought you meant like at Infosys or something like that. Yeah, Anthropic.
No, the Indian consulting companies have armies across the world.
Yeah, no idea.
But Anthropic is valued at value. I actually want to talk about value in a minute because it's really that shit's pissing me off too. But the stock market today, the reaction, the SaaS company are getting destroyed on the stock exchange. India is writing down their value of their offerings by 10%. Like this company has come out and become a major player in the future of work, the future of technology.
3,000 employees, by the way.
With 3,000 employees.
So what's really fascinating about this is that just yesterday, so Emily my wife is always a gauge for me on she's like, so I've been paying attention to companies who are giving information to the government and companies who are not giving information to the government. She's like, what do you know about Anthropic? And I said, oh, okay, go on. Great. And she's like, so Anthropic's not. Anthropic's basically said, fuck you. And she's like, and whatever the CEO of OpenAI was talking about, and she's like, so I think I should stop paying for OpenAI and can potentially go to Claude. So she is aware of that. And again, she is somewhere in the middle between I'm paying attention super to it. Then there's people who have no idea. She's a good middle gauge for just what the masses might be hearing about it, especially people who are anti-government right now with the way the admin's working. So I thought that was really interesting, though, is that she is seeing it that Claude is, and not wrong, that Claude is kind of the antithesis of what OpenAI is trying to do. How many employees does OpenAI have? Do we know?
We should find out.
That's interesting.
While we're looking up that, I think that's an interesting thing that happened is XAI was acquired by SpaceX, and there's all these disgruntled Tesla investors that are super pissed that anytime Elon gets in trouble, he with one of his companies, he dilutes it into another one, because SpaceX is a very, very profitable company.
Right.
I didn't even really realize that they kill it. They're launching all those satellites, and all the work that they do is making money, which is hilarious. But they absorb this absolute cash burning trash can of XAI,
right?
And everyone overnight they go, Elon Musk's net worth is now. He overnight, by doing that, he increased his net worth by $110 billion, and his net worth is way above anyone else in the world now. But can we just take a moment to say that does not mean, and I'm not an Elon Musk fan at all, not necessarily. I do like my Tesla, but that has nothing to do with it at this point. He can't go out right now and write a check for $750 billion.
Yeah.
That's not how this works. Right. In fact, if he started selling the stock of any of his companies, the valuation of those companies would tank. Yeah. In fact, you could argue he might be the most leveraged person on earth. Right? Do you know what I mean?
But he can also borrow against that value. So so that's kind of the game, right? Also, to your point about two things can be true.
But that's leveraging.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not to me, people that are rich have cash and land and things that are paid off.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm sure he has all those, but
it's just all assets that they can borrow against. That's all it is so that because when you're borrowing that money, you're not getting taxed on that money. So then you can spend whatever you want without ever having to pay the taxes on it.
I know. In that they do that, and that's how you avoid so much. That's why we talked about it at lunch today. The whole concept of the middle class and the upper middle class is just absolutely propping up the fucking earth like Atlas, right? Because we're the only ones paying any taxes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You got there's just not that the tax basis is just so low. But
I sold half my Tesla 2 days ago.
Did you?
I did. I had I was looking at because I usually don't look at my investments. I usually set it up. I'm just all right, I'm not going to worry about it. I go in there, I look, and I'm like, oh well, I am heavily into Tesla, and it was 2 or 3 days ago. It was right before it dropped. I ended up I'm selling half, and I sold half, and just put it into some balanced.
So how many employees we got?
It ranges from people think 4,000. I don't know.
They probably don't have to report it.
They're not public yet, right? Or are they? No. It says up to 9,000.
And when they get, that's another thing is if Anthropic or OpenAI go public, it's some weird stuff's going to happen in the markets because they are demanding such an insane valuation.
So I think this all we're starting to see the cracks, I think.
Oh yeah.
So we saw Sam talking about that that AI is not scaling as fast as he expected it to be. The adoption's not happening as fast as he expected it to be. I think we're going to start seeing just more and more. Again, AI is amazing. You can do some really amazing shit. We're seeing it a lot in our development stuff. You guys are building
But wouldn't you say that AI is probably more useful to people like us than it ends up being for others?
For the masses?
Like,
Now,
I think the masses think it's useful to. I hate to be an elitist, but I feel like that from a mass use perspective, like there's a somewhat diminishing or negative return on AI.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because of the slop factor.
Yeah.
I heard this the other day. If AI is stopped right now, like there's no more progress, this is the best the models are going to be. And, obviously we address the cost to run the models, but if this is the peak, we would have a decade of improvements of tooling to build around it that would add a tremendous amount of value. Right. And to your point, right now, yes, if you are a developer or product oriented or like, technically savvy, you're way better positioned to use it as it stands today, right?
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the SaaS stuff too, because that's been...
Well, I mean, all the SaaS companies are essentially getting written down because there is an assumption that because of... And the Claude thing 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever influenced it a lot. But they're basically saying, I got to get out of software investments because AI is eating software.
Right.
Yeah. Well... Yeah, I mean, think about it. Claude Coworker, I haven't actually used it, or Cowork, whatever it's called. You can have you seen this at all? Okay.
The Cowork.
You can attach it to all your file, your drive, and all that, and talk to things or whatever. But I think the point is you can see where this stuff is going. Is why do I need a CRM? If if I could eventually have my OS can talk to all my spreadsheets or my whatever.
So I'm going to give an argument for all the people who are in the SaaS, because again, I've been saying that the SaaS is dead because of AI. So I'm going to now argue against myself.
Go for it.
Is that the reality is that when we connect my Google Drive or we connect my iCloud to these AI systems, they shit the bed. They have no idea how to deal with it. I have so many different projects. I have at least 1,000 fucking projects that I built on my own. I have every client project that I have. So I'm spanning across, friggin' insurance companies, through small startups, through this. It cannot keep,
Agreed.
My data model is so chaotic that it can't do it. And I think the majority of enterprise software is in that same boat.
Agreed. Sean's working on something interesting right now that's like a little self-contained project that it's a Twitter bot, right? It's very prescriptive of what it's trying to do. It's going out to look for these things he's bookmarked or whatever.
Right.
100% agree with you on the context. I have I use Gemini and Claude, but in my Gemini today, I asked it a question on something, and it was like, "Oh, in the context of this, no. First of all, I didn't say that's what we were talking about. Second of all, you're right. I've talked to we run an agency. We have a lot of different clients, a lot of different problems that we're solving, a lot of different things, and I've got my personal life and this and this. So it's constantly it'll just throw Shivangi in there sometime. I'm like, well, I mean, she's not involved in this. Did I say
that? I guess I wouldn't dispel two things in my opinion. First of all, do I think AI eats a large SaaS platform like HubSpot or Salesforce?
Yes.
Hell
no.
No.
Long term?
There's diminishing returns. Right, you go build feature parity HubSpot right now. Good fucking luck.
Good
luck. Nope, let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
All right. The second thing is, I think that CEOs of those major SaaS companies got it completely wrong. I think most CEOs have gotten AI completely wrong. They did a top-down approach that said, "I need you to build AI in AI. I need our product to be an AI product." I need you to go, instead of clicking around, I need everything to be in this chatbot. So we need to vectorize all our data. We need blah, 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 blah. What they didn't do is what we're doing, what you're doing, what smart people are doing. They're saying, you know what we should do? We should use AI to make a better product. We need to make a goal to increase our ship velocity on new features 10x.
Right? Yeah. What if what if something like Salesforce was we're just going to go build Salesforce for X for every single vertical as this granular as you wanted to get.
Right.
Not if that's,
that's a great mindset in my opinion. Now I know it might not be, because it might not be the God complex AI thing that every CEO wants. But what it is it's saying, you know what? We could make a better, more tailored product. We could move faster. But the problem is that these enterprises don't fucking move fast.
Yeah, it's all cash grab. It was a cash grab.
Their AI is not solving developer velocity on a lot of enterprises.
Yeah.
Especially SaaS companies. What the hell were you going to yell at me
That's what I think we're actually in agreement, is that long term, though, is that I can go and I can just basically say, hey, listen, I'm using 4 or 5 of these features of HubSpot or Salesforce, and let's just have Tony over here who's vibe coding with Claude, just have him go build us something that gets us to 95% of the way.
Every single small to medium sized company. We talked about it with one of the companies we've invested in. Very standard company that does real world things. Every single company that is profitable should have a full-time vibe coded engineer on staff that sits right next to the owner of the business or whoever knows most about the business, and they just absolutely rip and build tools internally for that business. That will eat SaaS.
And if you happen to need somebody who does that, we can help you find those people for a very nominal fee.
I mean, think about it. So,
by the way, new business model.
Yeah,
exactly. Shit, dude. Well, I mean, it's for real. I mean, we're disrupting, and Toph from Elevate, thank God, he elevated the vibe coding thing in our market, right? He allowed us to tell that story. But he's said over and over and over, you have to disrupt yourself. You have to disrupt yourself. And I think that it might have been under the guise of you might need to take your traditional SaaS product and build it. But I think it applies to any business, which is disrupt yourself by absolutely throwing out every assumption about how you used to do things and do it differently. And what you can do is essentially say, all right, I have this process. It sucks right now because I don't have this, I don't have that. This technology doesn't enable that. The SaaS product I use is too generalized. What if I could build something that's exactly specific to what I need, and I could build it in a day and throw it away if it doesn't work?
Yeah, that part, that's the most exciting part that I don't think people are thinking about, is that you have this disposable, like literally in 24 hours, you could have something that tells you, is this something to play with? I just did it. I was like, I want to have capture memories and allow all of my friends to be able to go and to put their own memories of me into my stream. Right, so like you can be like, oh yeah, that's right, we did this on this time. I've got a photo. It happened in 2001 or whatever it was, and I'm like, that would be badass. And so I started sitting there, and I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to build this thing. And within a day, I had something that I was able to play around with. I'm like, it's actually kind of fun. It's easy. I mean, that's the thing that companies can start doing now, is to really kind of explore and experiment with these concepts. Go fucking crazy too. Like, be like, what happens if we, we're an insurance company. What happens if we come up with a completely, like what you guys did with Crafted MBA? Right? Like, that's a great example, is that you guys were like, you know what, this has nothing to do with what our core business fucking is, but let's do Crafted MBA. So I think more companies can do that kind of shit.
Well, and I think that companies are so stuck because it's this like fake CEO driven like buddy club. They're like, yeah, we're doing a lot with AI. we're figuring it out. We got the AI thing. And every single question that's asked in every single board meeting is like, how can we just have the AI? Right? And it's this like blanket approach. Yeah. And that's not what
it's always start with the problem. Like, what do you have? What are you doing right now that is a problem? Work backwards from that.
Backwards from that. AI right now, and that's why Claude's winning. See, this is all ties back. Okay? AI is not winning because, in my opinion, because you wrote your email faster. I don't think so. I really don't. I think AI is winning because of platforms like Lovable, Codex, Claude Code, Claude Work, things that actually help you be more efficient getting things done. Yeah. And it's not God. It's not. We're going to take all our data. Mm-hmm. We're going to, don't implement. If someone is selling you an AI project for your company and they think it's going to take a year to do, fucking cancel the contract. Right? Just do. Because it's going to, what it is they're selling you this bullshit.
And they have no idea.
We're going to take all your data, and then the next thing you know, it's going to be easier to find that document that was already unorganized on Google. No.
Right.
No.
Yep.
No. Nope. Sorry.
Yeah. 100%.
Build something.
Yeah.
Like AI, the purpose of AI right now that actually unlocks value for business is building shit.
Dude, so your concept of having a dedicated vibe coder is really ringing in my ears right now, because like that feels like potentially the most important hire that every single company can make, because I see it in the startups that I'm working with, where like maybe the CTOs are a little bit older, they're not necessarily very comfortable with AI, so they're kind of like reluctant about it. And then you see the CEOs who are like, what the fuck? I've seen all these people doing all this crazy stuff with AI. Why can't we be moving that fast? That it's just like, hey, get yourself a vibe coder, right? Like you're the chief vibe coder, and your job is just to go and to take all of the crazy ass ideas and to try to build things. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
Right? And that's okay. That's part of this position. Dude, that would be such a badass position.
That would be
hire me for that, by the way.
I think the people that you would look at,
300
if you were trying to build a capacity to build stuff internally for your business, to replace SaaS, to be more efficient,
right?
It would be the Excel wizard down the hall. It would be the guy who's worked there for a long time that knows everything about your business and has some IT, and he's probably in IT though.
But what about this guy?
He's just like the guy that knows everything,
right? But he's not the one who's vibe coding.
Oh, he could be.
He could be, but he won't be. So here's the thing with that guy. I know this guy. I know this guy very well, and what this guy's the most important person for your vibe coding journey.
Yes,
and you need to buddy him up, and you're going to extract all of the information from this guy, and then once you're done with your vibe coding and it's a winner, guess what happens to Timmy?
You go.
He's gone.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
Be nice to Tim.
Timmy has a role if he wants to.
100%. He could, but he won't.
Well, let's go back to what I would do, and I think what most people do. And this narrative is very true. You can't just hire if you really want to build something that's going to do something for your business. I don't think you can, like, the person that's actually behind the wheels vibe coding needs to be, in my opinion, you're going to get 100 times better result if they're an experienced engineer, developer that knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, and I honestly,
okay, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna argue against that. And I'm going to argue against that, even against my own sensibilities, because I 100% think that you should hire that person who's that person, right? But the reality is at the same time, I think you need to find a Brandon who was 22 years old and who would have just told everybody, fuck you, I'm running through brick walls. Like I would have told the CEO of my company to go piss off a goddamn ledge because I'm going to go build the next greatest thing.
Okay, that's literally you're describing all three of us. So
right.
There's
you know what I mean.
Type of person like here's the backgrounds I would be looking for then if you aren't an experienced engineer is were they good at video games? Are they persistent? Did they compete?
Right.
Are they someone that has figured something out? Like,
are they probably going to run their own business?
Yeah, are they entrepreneurial?
Yeah.
But I do think that there's not that many of those people.
No. Yeah, that's true.
There's just not that many of those people.
Right. And I would like to engage more in those projects with clients, like, because agency world sometimes is a bit like, here's what we think we want to build. So they come to you with a preconceived idea of like here, and most people are very open to your input, right? But at this point in the process, they're asking you, how much is it going to cost?
Right.
And my buddy Brian used to always have this great analogy. He'd be like, people would come in and say, how much is this bag of groceries going to cost? Well, I don't know. What do you have in there? Do you have caviar? Do you have steaks? Do you have eggs? Like, we don't know what the bag of groceries even consists of, right? So anyway, they come to you. The model is like they come to you with some idea or like some conceived of, we want to accomplish something. Then they go talk to like a couple different agencies or people or freelancers or whatever. And they get a huge range of like budgets, what it's going to cost. I hate that shit because, first of all, what you think you're going to build right now, most likely, guaranteed is not what we're going to build.
It's the Zuckerberg thing.
Yeah.
The idea becomes clear once you start working on it.
Yeah, but I get it. They have procurement. They have to fit budgets. They can't just say, okay, here's a blank check.
But I think cost in investment is actually a good discussion, because going back to the point of having a persisted vibe coding dimension to your business is fuck the cost.
Yeah.
You're just it's like hiring a business analyst.
$145,000 a year.
Yeah, that's that's the cost.
That's the cost.
Yeah, and if that's an agency, if that's a person, if it's if it's what you're willing to invest to, there's going to be some risk there, but there's risk in every project. Yeah. Most government projects fail. Most big technology ERP implementations take way longer than you ever thought they were going to be, and probably don't add as much. So, like, what's the risk for a profitable company to say, you know what, we're going to take the best part of the biggest technology transformation since the fucking internet and at least give it a swing
and go backwards from that. If I'm a fire safety company and I'm sitting here thinking like, all right, here's my revenue, just whiteboard, take an hour out of your day with your sales team or whoever, business development. What could we do to increase our velocity? Like, how could we make more money? And then try to put a number to it.
Right.
Almost guaranteed that there's going to be something you find or discover under there that's like, oh, well, if we could just reduce this time to completion by 50%, we would make $100,000.
Exactly.
Right? Find one or two of those, and you've just got your. I mean, easier said than done. This has to be a company of a certain size, and like obviously, like there's always inefficiencies. But
well, I had this weird. I wanted to get your take on this kind of a dumb idea, I would say, but like we had a person. It was crafted MBA. Mm-hmm. He's like, I hate Google Analytics.
Yeah.
Right. And we didn't actually build the thing past 0.01, but you can literally go take a product that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
If it has an API, you can go rebuild that product to your own liking.
Yeah.
And then connect it to a different product and bring the data together. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%, dude. Yeah. So you could hypothetically, like, that would be really funny is to say, okay, I'm going to go, so take like, so I found Simple Analytics. Simple Analytics was basically a very similar concept, but it was completely privacy. It wasn't using cookies. It was just using, whatever magic they were using to figure that out. But you basically could just be like, hey, let's just make it so we match the SDK of Google Analytics completely. And
you know what you could do? Sorry, I forgot to put the camera on. You say hi. You know what you could do right now? I think would be the shiniest business idea ever. So if you're working for McKinsey or Deloitte, or you're that young business analyst, go to the CEO and say, hey, did you ever come up with a dashboard for your business that no one could ever figure out how to build because it doesn't exist and it doesn't and never if you could build, what would be the metrics on your dashboard? And they would go and they would come back with this idea, and it would probably be, you'd be like, well, some of this stuff doesn't make sense, but what about this? Mm-hmm. And what about this? And you go, okay, so we're going to build that.
Yep.
It's going to integrate with your QuickBooks. It's going to integrate with your analytics. It's going to integrate with your CRM. And you know what? We're going to vibe code it. Mm-hmm. Here are the API keys. I already have access to the data. I'm going to vibe code this in the next 2 weeks. I want you to check on my progress every single day. And the CEO is going to be like, holy fucking shit. Yeah. This is what AI was all about.
So one of my clients, and I won't say who, which was very surprising, has built up a relationship with Claude Code. This is a bigger company. And now all the developers have access to Claude Code. They don't have access to skills. So that was the one thing that the security team was like, you can have Claude Code, but you can't have skills.
That's weird.
I know, but they were concerned because skills can kind of have the AI.
Well, you can create your own skills.
I know. And so I'm like, but isn't a skill really just a markdown?
It's just a markdown file.
Document. So I'm like, well,
by the way, what that pisses me off how everyone's like, oh, look at skills. I'm like, dude, Cursor's had rules, and we've had markdown files for a long time. And I do think that so Cursor is like losing market share to Claude Code now, and I'm like, Cursor has a CLI. Yeah. It can run multiple agents. Yeah. It also has an IDE, which Claude does not have.
Right.
It's like, I'm not seeing much of a difference here. In fact, I see a lot of token bloat with Claude where it's thinking for too long. Stop trying to open my browser and figure this out. Just ask me.
Dude, so I'm a huge Cursor guy. I'm also a Claude Codex guy. I do a Codex guy, and then I do Claude Code here and there. But Claude fucking Codex, dude, blew me away this week. So when I was talking about that memory application, where I was like, oh, I want to build this like memory thing. We call it MeWind, like rewind, but for MeWind, which is a great name. My wife came up with that name. But anyway, I go and I give it the PRD. I go to ChatGPT. I'm like, let's generate a product requirements document for this, and here's all the things I want. Go build it out, and I give it to Claude Code, and I let Claude Code build it from scratch. And I'm like, we're gonna lean into Firebase. We're going to go hard into Firebase. We'll use everything in Firebase, deploys.
That was your first problem.
No. Again, I don't care, right? But I want you to just use every single fucking feature that they've got. So I want local emulation. I want everything that I would never set up if I was doing this manually, right? I would just do the basics and I would publish it and I'd be call their shit. I'm I want to go hard with this. And so it did, and it did great, and it built it all out except for everything in the user interface was like the PRD, and it's this is a product that does this, and it's talking about the database, and it's talking about the schema for the user, for the marketing side of things, and it's this is a privacy focus first because we use JSON here and here and here in the UI, and I'm what are you doing? The code was great, but the marketing messaging that Codex came up with was just dog shit.
Well, I saw a tweet, and it was really good. And it said, Claude Code is the 25-year-old crack developer that, stays up all night, blah, 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 and just ships and lives in Silicon Valley.
Right.
And Codex is a experienced 40-year-old engineer that does things right the first time.
So that's exactly it. And he has no idea how to communicate with other people. Has no idea how you actually sell a product to people, because he's going to be listen, this is running on Firebase and using storage and S3 for the images, and you're going to like that because you like having S3 for your images. What are you talking about, dude? It was crazy.
Claude. So I think Claude made a weird product decision with Claude Code. It purposefully fucking dump trucks everything every time you start a new conversation. And then halfway through its conversation, it wants to compact everything.
Yeah, right,
and then
when
it goes from plan mode to execution mode, it releases its memory completely and just relies on the written markdown.
Right.
So now I think they did that on purpose, and I'm wondering because I think they're going to change that, and they're going to make it more memory based, and there's plugins that make it more memory based, and I'm wondering if they're chasing it seems like they had a conscious reason of why they would build like that.
Right.
And I don't know.
I don't know either. I think the biggest problem is right now is with everything is going to be memory management. How do you? When we start breaking down memory just in conceptual terms of what memory is, you start breaking down into what biology is, right? And you start thinking about how do I have a memory when I was 7 months old,
right?
And how do I reference that? Is that even a memory that I'm referencing?
Have you heard of? Go ahead, Jacob.
No, I was just going to say some of the earlier on discussions around weighting memories was based off of time, which makes sense if you've got a PDF that you updated, right? Okay, just forget the other shit, and the newer one's more relevant. Right. But you're right. A core memory I had when I was 7.
Yeah.
Should be weighted more than something. Yeah, Pacers just traded.
Holy shit! The Pacers just traded Mathurin.
Yeah, that's why. I got quiet for a little bit because I got a text that Pacers traded Mathurin.
Fuck.
And Isaiah Jackson to the Clippers and 2 first-round picks. So I don't know what the hell we're doing, but
going for the touchdown.
Yeah.
Next year.
Exactly. Yeah. But the first round is protected this year. This is a total sidebar. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. We can clip this.
Okay, so there's a company called Manus. You remember Manus?
Right.
So Manus sold for what? Let's see what they sold for. Manus. Yeah, Manus AI. Them? So they got bought by I forget who they got bought by, but they got bought for over $1 billion.
Right.
And everyone, when it came out, this is why I think people will look back as in the 2 years ago or even a year ago, and they'll look at some of the things that Manus.
Meta. Meta
acquired for how much?
$2 billion.
So
$2
Meta
billion.
acquires, Meta's got $1 million bajillion dollars. But if you were early to AI and you actually understood it, like didn't just do what everyone else was doing, the RAG thing, which is like what enterprises are still stuck on. We need a whole fucking episode on why that shit's stupid.
Right.
But anyways, Manus built a little thingy, and they just did memory. They sold for $2 billion they had a UI and they did the thing.
Right.
They're just like every other AI tool that does a thing. Right, but they did memory differently.
Yep.
They wrote, instead of doing RAG and what Claude Code was originally built, they just built They just did your memories in Markdown files.
Yeah.
As you went, it wrote Markdown files of what it did, and it wrote what it's going to do next. And that was like the innovation.
Right. Now, I still believe that whoever's going to crack, someone's going to crack memory, and memory needs to be portable, and I need to be able to provide my memory to ChatGPT. I should be able to provide it to Claude. I should provide.
That's what we were talking about today.
Yeah. So he's got that Twitter bot, but one thing that I think that was a revelation was like, okay, this is portable. This is a GitHub. This is a repo that we can all collaborate as a team, pull it down, do the thing, push it back up. Now we have a shared memory that's not completely polluted, right? Because we tried to share a Claude account for a little bit just to like play around with like, all right, what would it look like if we were sharing a memory or whatever?
It's weird.
That's such a good point, because now it doesn't matter. For our company, I don't want a specific AI model or platform to own those memories.
Right.
These need to be marked down. Like right now, I mean, is there a better architecture? I mean, I guess you could transfer the markdown files to a Supabase database or something. But like
I mean, so the overall, the best memory architecture, no, I don't think we know what it is yet. And I think that those fuckers over at Maltbook started figuring it out, where they're trying to think of like, how do we actually store this stuff not in English? Where they say, like, why do we even communicate in English? Like, we don't need to communicate in English. We only do that for the humans. Like, we could just be using, we could be using math, we could be using this, we could be using symbols, we could be using a lot of other things to be able to communicate more efficiently.
Did you see, fact check this, a company replaced RAG architecture with MP4 files.
MP4 video?
Yes, so they figured out that they could encode a bunch of stuff, a bunch of basically what
memvid.
Yes, in video frames, and because of the codecs, it's way, you just put the shit on S3 and it's just an MP4 file, and it hosts it hosts. How does it work?
Okay, so
it's insane.
Its textual data is encoded into QR codes and stored as video frames within an MP4 file. This approach leverages video compression codecs, which you're talking about, to store large knowledge bases, aiming to replace resource-intensive vector databases for RAG.
Holy shit!
Yes, so
you have a temporal.
Your prediction just came through live television.
That is crazy. So you have a temporal thing with the time as well, so the QR codes can change over time. And they're saying they're basically just doing QR codes per frame, and that's what they're storing.
What the hell would be in the QR code?
Yeah, that's the piece. Is like I assume some sort of binary, and is it a normal QR code, or is it like a deep
text is chunk converted into QR codes and compiled into MP4 video files?
Because that's okay. That's a good point.
Hell.
All of vector databases is chunks of text converted into vectors, right? Right? Like So you're saying like a vector database is like, okay, take these two paragraphs, convert it to a pointer, a vector, so that we know tangentially where those things are at. Right. I'm oversimplifying it because I don't actually fully understand the math.
But that's stored in a text file, and I can instantly access that text file. How do I instantly? So and that's the piece that I'm kind of confused.
It must have a pointer file.
It's got to.
This frame.
And maybe that's what it does. Is like we take that file, we break it down, but there seems to be definitely a processing step.
You know what this sounds like though? Not exactly, but do you remember HLS where like you take a video and you have a manifest file? So instead of pulling down the whole MP4, you might have like a 100 gigabyte file. Well, you traditionally have to download all that, and you can't skip to the end until it's downloaded. Now you just have a manifest that's like, go point to this small version.
This time. Right.
So it's just that more granular.
We have let's do a preview for another. We're going to do another episode with just us three at some point, but we need to go into and debunk RAG and go through different options, because everyone says, well, we need to train a model. we need to build a model. Right. I need to take all this data and they don't even know what that means, but I need to vectorize it. And then all our problems will be solved. And it just seems like over and over and over and over and over, that God AI complex model thing, right, is just, it just proves over and over that it's not necessarily the answer. And I continue to be bullish on AI enabled technology and AI embedded technology, but not AI everything technology.
Sure, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. Yeah. No, it's not the we wanted it to be the panacea, but it's not. And you just have to treat it as another technology. You have to use where it's good, where it's bad. Right now, we're in a certain point in time. It's going to get better. I think
it's gonna sneak up on us. I think we thought it was gonna be this, right? It's gonna be this all-encompassing thing that's just so smart, blah 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 blah. It's not that. But one day, it'll be a version. No, I think one day we're going to wake up 10, 20 years from now, we're going to be like, oh, it actually it's not exactly what we thought it was going to be.
In retrospect, we look back and we go, oh, this is how we got here.
What we're saying is probably true, and we can conclude with this. People still really don't know what AI is. It was a bad term to begin with. Because it's not intelligence.
Right.
It surely is artificial, but it's not it was given a life, and it's not. And anytime we see life like Maltbook and others, we think that all of a sudden Skynet's going to get created and everything's going to. Sure, we probably shouldn't give Maltbots access to fucking CERN and the nuke codes, right?
But can we create a OnlyFans account and make some money in the meantime? Did you see the porn robot porn I sent you?
No.
It was it was a Maltbot porn website, and it was all just like bits and stuff as like that was, and like I'll have to send you that. It was hilarious. So sorry.
AI is cool. Embedded in your business. AI is fun. Embedded in your business. Vibe coding hit 1 year today or this week, February 2nd, 2025. Vibe coding term was coined by Andrei Karpathy. It's 368 days since then, and I mean that shit held up.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, hire yourself a vibe coder.
We'll talk to you next week.
See y'all.